Hey everybody, Eric here from Tattoo Collectables. Today, you know what time it is. It's been piling up. You'll get to see what we got this week. You're gonna love this. What's in the mail? So, first things first, I had a question the other day from a viewer. They asked about this letter opener. I use it to open all my mail. And they were wondering where I got it because they like the design on the handle there. I don't know how they caught the design on the handle, but actually, to tell you the truth, I didn't order this one. This one fell out of the bottom of a drawer. I bought a desk for my office, and it was an antique desk. And as I'm trying to undo to open the bottom drawer, it won't work. So I get under it like I'm a backyard tree mechanic. Or desk mechanic rather. And I see this sticking out. Now this is it's from the 20s. It's marked made in Germany on the back, but the patent is pending. I wonder if it's still pending. But anyway, that's the story of my letter opener. Now, on to the main event. So, this week I got a few things. This is, I'm not going to tell you who this is from. We'll get to that later. But I am going to open it. I saw this on eBay, and I don't always pop on tattoo machines. Because normally the ones that are collectible, like the older ones that are collectible, Jiminy Christmas, he really didn't want this damaged on the way. It's like a nesting doll. The ones that are collectible generally are thousands of dollars. Even the newer ones that are collectible, the Aaron Canes and the Sobas. Sobas I still use today. The Aaron Canes, I've got one of his machines. I use it. I really like it. But his collectible machines start off at $650, $700 and go up to whatever you can afford. This little thing here, but they are great machines. But that's the reason that I don't collect the one-offs or the older tattoo machines, because they do run significant money. So this one did not, though. This one is a little Jonesy. I loved the $5 bill. I don't know if you can see that. I'll get a better picture of it for you. But I love the $5 bill covers. It's an old design. It's from the 40s, the design is. But when I saw this one, I just fell in love with this little machine. I thought, wow, that's such a cool design. The seller didn't give me much background on the machine. He said he got it from the builder. The name on the side is marked Tom, but it's Thom. Usually when you see that, it's Tom DeVita. Come to find out, DeVita did not make machines, so this is not a Tom DeVita machine. This is by a company called Raw Irons. It's marked 2015, so it's a fairly newer machine. When I got it, to tell you the truth, I opened it. I had to, because I thought if it's a great little zapper, I'm gonna go ahead and use it that day. Unfortunately, and this happens a lot on eBay, people do not know what they're doing with machines. Now, we've mentioned that before on a table time. It's just the truth. People just don't know how to mess with machines. So when this one came, I hooked it up, and it was shooting a blue spark off the back, big enough to light a cigarette with. Now, normally that is your capacitor, and that's what it was on this one. When I went to switch capacitors, because I'm an old school guy, I know how to do this stuff. When I went to switch capacitors, the other one was put on with liquid electrical tape, which looks fine until you go to redo something on it, and then it's absolutely going to mess it up. So this one is now paperweight. When I went to change it, I accidentally pulled one of the wires out of one of the coils. So I believe this one I'm going to send off to a gentleman named Mike Pike. Some of you are familiar with him, some of you are not. If you're not familiar with Mike Pike, you should get familiar with Mike Pike because he's awesome. And he's going to redo that one for me. So we're going to see that come back in the mail and redone stem to stern. And we'll see how that goes. Now, this next package is, it's off of eBay once again. I saw it on there and I thought, man, this looks cool. So I went ahead and popped on it, and there we go. And what we got here, and I love this. I love getting stuff like this. This is, man, you put this in here really good. Give me a second to get it out of here. Really good, though. Which I like. I like people packing this stuff up really well. That way it always gets to you undamaged. But some people go above and beyond. Like the guy with the machine went above and beyond. Okay, so this is a Captain Don Leslie event card. And it's if you remember from a couple weeks ago, we did the Lorette Love. She was a circus performer as well. So is Captain Don Leslie. And that's how you would get it from him. It had the little autograph on the bottom. Him swallowing some swords, because that's what he was known for. He was a fire eater, a tattooed man, a musician. He did a bunch of different stuff. He was a really good friend of Lyle Tuttle's. And that's one of his drawings on the back. He did Tattoo Flash. But he was a super good friend of Lyle Tuttle's. And Tuttle told me a story. He said when Captain Don was on his deathbed, and he ended up dying of throat cancer, he said while he was on his deathbed, all he could do was write notes to him. So he looks over his shoulder as he's writing this note, and the note says, "Take me out." And it upset Tuttle. Tuttle got up and he says, "We've been friends for 30 years, and if you think I'm gonna kill you because you're on your way out," he goes, that's not what's happening here. And he gets really upset about it, gets up and leaves the room. As he's walking down the hall, he thinks, "I've known this guy 30 years. He's a good friend." So he goes back into Captain Don's room and he grabs a pillow, and Captain Don starts waving him off viciously and pointing to the note that he wrote. Well, Captain Don liked the dog track, and that's what he was asking. The full note said, "Take me out to the track one last time." And it could have ended way worse. But I thought that story was awesome. I heard it from Tuttle himself, and he really loved this guy. And when I saw this online, I was like, I don't have anything Captain Don Leslie. And the stuff's getting harder and harder to get. It's like anything else. He died a few years back, and now his stuff is getting incredibly hard to get. So this ran me $26. I didn't think that was bad for something like this. I wouldn't get rid of it for under $100. If you see one of these out there, or if you have one yourself, be sure and frame it up, keep it nice, because these are definitely one of those things you're not going to see very much of here in the near future. So, next. Now I saw this and I thought it looks cool. As you know, I collect business cards. And some of the business cards are getting, like I saw a Lyle Tuttle business card the other day, which I have several of. I saw one of those online the other day, and it was $150. Since his death, they have gone nowhere but up. So this is from Miss Mary. I'm not going to mention her last name. I tend to keep things like that private, mainly for the people. Not everybody wants their name out there on YouTube, but some do. So she really packed these up. Nice. Okay. So what we have here. Oh, these are sweet. Oh, these are real sweet. So these are hologram business cards. These were big back in the 80s and 90s. It's a trick of the eye. It's like one of those magic eyes that you turn, you get the different picture each way you turn it. And a lot of these are from businesses that are either no longer in business or that I haven't heard of. But the cards themselves are awesome. I got 8 of these cards. Cost me $8, so they were $1 a piece. They're from the 80s. Let me see if these are all duplicates. I think she sent me 2 packages of the same cards. Nope, those are different. They're just from the same place. There's another one. I just think these are super cool. Here's one from Superior Lines and Piercing. And this one is, I would bet that one is a little bit newer. But they all have this really wild feel to them. And some of them are see-through. Some of them are just holographic. But super neat. You don't see these every day. And like I said, they weren't incredibly expensive. They were about $1 a card. But I saw a Huck Spalding just like this. Actually, just like this one here. It had the pinwheel design on it. But it was a Huck Spalding Enterprise card. It went for like $200. And it was definitely from the 80s, as is this one. But you know, stuff like this, when you see it, don't be afraid. Just grab it. Because it is, it's definitely going to be one of those things later in life that will go up in value. And that's what the guys collecting stuff right now see no value in this kind of thing, which I don't know why. They just don't. I believe it's because they were alive when these things came out, and they think, how can that be worth any money? I picked this up from Don at his tattoo studio in 1980. How can it be worth money now? It is. And the older guys, they always say, oh, if it's not past 1970, it's not really a collectible. I'm here to tell you, it absolutely is. A lot of the things I get are from 1970 and up. And it's because the golden age stuff, the stuff from the 60s, 50s, 40s, that stuff is totally out of my reach right now. It's so expensive, and it's worth it if it's real. I see a bunch of stuff on eBay that I question because to me it just doesn't look authentic. I think there are people out there, especially with the acetates. If you notice, you haven't seen any acetates on this show, and I doubt that you will. Because I ordered acetate from Huck Spalding. He still sells it. Even though no one uses it anymore, they still sell it. And we got it just to see if we could make some old school acetates, which it still works just fine for that. If you wanna try your hand at doing one from the 30s or 40s, it's hair raising, let me tell you, because the first time you wipe it, your entire stencil is gone. So you have to start from that's why we start from the bottom left and we work our way over. Today, you can work on a stencil all day long. Rarely is it going to wipe off. Back then, wipe right off. So, but that's the reason. The reason I don't get any of those is because they are so easy to fake. Anytime you see a stencil marked with someone's name on it, Sailor Jerry, for instance, or Tahiti Felix, or Bert Grimm. These are utilitarian things. These are things guys use to put tattoos on. They didn't sign them. Rarely, if ever, did they sign one. Now, Bert Grimm, come to find out, I talked to Catfish Carl. He said that Bert signed maybe 2 or 3 in his entire career, and those were always ones that he was given to someone as a gift. So, buyer beware on those. Antique paper stencils, I saw that online this week. Those don't exist at all. Those are totally fake. And so, let me step down off this soapbox that I seem to have gotten on today and get back to the business at hand. So, this, as you can tell by the coolness of the package, this one is from Painted Trunk. I get a ton of stuff from Painted Trunk. I'm hoping it never ends. He seems to have all the good toys. And he sends them, usually with something else. So, Jason Hook out of Austin, Texas, he is Painted Trunk on eBay. He sent me this wonderful Greg Irons piece. Now you can tell that this piece was hanging in a shop. It is laminated with, chances are this isn't lamination, this is some kind of contact sheet that they would have put on the bottom of a drawer or whatever. But they used them to mount them because these were just paper. So when they mount them to a board, they do it to give it a little stiffness so they can actually display it on the wall. This one was absolutely displayed on the wall. It still has, very faintly, it still has all the prices. But Greg Iron's artwork was just second to none at the time. He had a really great mind and a really great eye for art. And I got this one. This is the second sheet that I got of Greg Iron. It's from a different set, but it is actually signed G. Irons down at the bottom. It's from 1984, but I love this guy. I love his stuff. What did he send with it? A Marty Holcomb piece. Now, I'm not as familiar with Marty Holcomb. I have heard the name, but I am not as familiar with him. But he sent me this one for free. Just a free piece of flash. And that's what I love about this guy. He always puts something in the package that will thrill you when it comes out and that you didn't expect. Now, this one is laminated. So this one is a newer sheet. It doesn't have a date anywhere on it, but you can tell that it was, because of the numbering on it, see the 54 MH, that chances are that's the number of the corresponding outline sheet. So what you would do in a shop if you were tattooing, you'd pull this thing off the wall and use it as color reference. And then you'd go to a drawer somewhere and you'd pull out the outline sheet, and you'd just run a copy of it and you'd make your outline from that. These are from back in a time where it was a you pick it, we stick it kind of thing. My first boss was all about speed, not about quality. And I got real sick of that real quick because, if you're putting something on somebody's body forever, it should be quality, not over quantity. And that's what these were great for, because nowadays I'll sit 2 or 3 days designing a piece for someone, making it custom. Back then they'd be like, oh, I like that ship. I want this ship right here. And they'd pick it and we'd put it on them. So, I know that was kind of short and sweet this week, but that's what we had in the mail, and that's what you get. So, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've hit that like and subscribe button, because otherwise it really just tears me up and makes me cry. And hit the notifications button if you want to know the second that a new video drops. Usually I drop one every week, about every Monday. Mike knows. So, thanks for tuning in this week. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next week. Keep collecting.